Stop it. And action. Welcome to this isn't episode 5 of the mini experiment show. This is an evaluation of the mini experiment show. This is basically, it's an appraisal of the work that we've created over the last 4 months. And Jack, I've made some notes. Have you got any notes?
Oh, look at that. I've got to go. Sorry, I've run out of time.
So what do you do when you have a mini experiment? Well, you've got to figure out, does the experiment work and do I want to repeat it? So I think that's what we wanted to do. We made a big announcement round about January of video podcasts that we were going to create as an experiment for this group. We did a thing. We created the thing. In fact, I seem to remember, weren't we in a Polish restaurant when we came up with the idea? We ate our body weight and pierogi.
Yes.
We may have had a glass of wine and or a beer, and then we went, let's do a thing. And we've had plenty of those conversations in the last 7 or 8 years, Jack, maybe even 9 years. However, this one you put in the calendar. So when we
That's
got
that was
back
the
to,
magic ingredient.
damn you, Jack. I remember the getting back and going, oh, we put a thing in the calendar, didn't we? Should we do it? Yeah,
What
let's do
was
it.
that?
So the purposes of this episode is to let everybody know, let all of you guys know, what did we do? Did it work? Did we like it? We want to hear from you. We've had some feedback from you already, but please give us some feedback on the mini experiment show. If you saw one or any more of the episodes, what did you like? What did you want more of? And why is it me? What didn't you like? It's you, Jack. They just want you. What didn't you like? What needs to be taken out? How do we change the format to make it more engaging, etc., etc. So, if you've got any ideas, if you've got any insight, and you be prepared to spend about 28 seconds of your life and type as a quick message, it would be really, really appreciated because as part of what we do next, sure, we've got some insights and ideas how it felt for us, but we did it for you guys. We did it because we wanted to support you. And we need to understand what worked and what didn't before we can do the next thing. But we've got a few ideas. We've been cooking up a few ideas, and we'll share that with you too. So, Jack, other than eating our body weight in pierogi and coming up with a ridiculous idea that made it to the calendar somehow,
Whoops.
uh, what happened? Like, what did we do next?
So we've got 4 episodes under our belt, which I think, would you believe, that's about 6 hours of content that did not exist before. Actually, over. We went a little bit over on the last episode. Let's call it 6 hours. Um, and I think that is for me the biggest learning. We say, especially internally with the Rebel team, like if it's not in the calendar, it's not going to happen because we can have these fantastic conversations, but if you're not taking the action to do it, and to your point, putting that in the
Good point.
calendar is what made it happen
It is.
consistently every month.
I'd still be in Poland if you hadn't put in my calendar, fly back to London.
Actually, true. That's a story for another day. Um, but yeah, I think it was super useful for us to figure out what we wanted the show to look like, what we wanted to put out into the world, in addition to the courses. I've got a few numbers here. Like we had some fair numbers on them, Simon. So we got episode 1, 536 people tuned in. Episode 2, 249. Episode 3, 205. Episode 4, 180. And obviously, like episode
That
one's
was just my family
lived a bit
members.
longer.
I don't actually know 536 people, unless we count the rebels. Of course, I've met over 536 rebels over the years.
More.
Those are pretty buoyant numbers.
Yeah.
Jack, do I need to be concerned? Are you concerned by the like we had 536 on the first show, 249. Like, help me understand the numbers. What do you think when you see? So we've got what? There's something just over 1,000 views, total number of unique viewers of the show. What's your understanding of those numbers? What do you read into it?
I think there's 2 bits there. Like, so those numbers are recently pulled. So my first bit goes obviously like episode 1 has lived longer on the site, so it's had more time to accumulate views and more people like that. Regardless, I think there's a very interesting lesson in retention it's a big conversation we have. Like, how do you keep people in a room for a 10-day course? Is a conversation we have a lot.
Answers on a postcode, please, folks. And if it's free food, like I know, I get it, but is there anything else that we could do?
So having having that, but also figuring out how to keep people coming back. I think there's you get that core, you get your Raven fans, you get the people that kind of love it, but how do you continue to not only retain that audience but continue to grow it? I think there's a lot of lessons of running it within the support group itself. I learned very quickly on that Facebook has a new policy which deletes live videos after 30 days, I think, believe it is, or a certain
Brilliant.
amount of time. So that's great. So what that does mean, fortunately, they are not lost media. We have them, and we will re-upload them to the group, and make sure that like they
You sounded a
continue to
little bit
live
like
on.
Liam Neeson's character in Taken then, like,
I will find them.
I have them, I will find them, and I will upload them to the group.
They're in my shared drive. um, but also, I think actually, like what's come out on the other side, and one of the bigger reasons why we started this was just to make content, to get something out into the world, because historically we're so busy doing the thing, running the business, that we don't necessarily find the time to do the kind of the content, the other bits around the edge, which it's a you can apply that lesson to almost every single business in the world, especially small businesses.
I love what you said, Jack. And to me, that reason of I just don't have the time, we don't have the time, we're too busy, is code for we haven't found a way to prioritize this yet. And actually, for us, this is a priority. What we do to support you guys outside of the program is really important. And we've got Rebel Plus, we've got you can come to any course you want in the future, we've got a finance school, but actually finding new and interesting and engaging ways to deliver ideas and content and information that can support and answer questions and so on. Like that's what we're here to do. So I love that we made it happen. I love that we made it real. And I also love how many strepsils I got through during. I look back at some of those videos, Jack. I was quite ill. I didn't realize at the time. I'm like on adrenaline. Let's just do the show. I'm fine. I have a bucket of tissues here. Like it was not good.
He was
It
not.
was not good. I wonder what would have
No one
happened to
noticed.
audience numbers if you could actually understand what I was saying in between coughing and
Oh, so it's you.
So
um,
good. So we got the numbers.
yeah.
We ran 4 shows. We themed them. So, folks, if you've seen the mini experiment show, if you've seen any of the episodes, what worked for you and what didn't? What did you like? What didn't you like? What about the length? What about the format? What about the number of strepsils that were involved, particularly in episode 2? So we would love to know what you think and how we can improve and how we can make it better because your insight and your feedback will help us to create. We've got some ideas as to what we create next, but we're not going to do anything until we've heard from you guys. So that would be much appreciated. Whack it in the comments or send us an email.
Ooh,
Right.
Simon an email.
Yes, my name is Alan. Yeah, so just drop me an email, simon at therebelschool.com. Okay, so what else? What else do we need to know? We've got the data, the evaluation of a mini experiment. That's what I want to talk about, Jack, because we talk about the mini experiment methodology on the course, which basically says you're not launching a business yet. You might think you are, but you're not. You're just launching an experiment, which is at the start of the process of launching a business. So before you launch a business, we run an experiment. You do a thing, you find a product or a service, you do the thing for an audience that's your best guess of who wants it, and then you ask them to take action. And then at the end of that mini experiment, which is where we're at, mini experiment number 1 for the show, for the podcast, did we like it? Yes or no? Did our audience like it? Yes or no? Did we make money? Yes or no? Or did we achieve our objective? Yes or no? And then from the answers to those questions, you can decide what next. So for anyone that's watching this going, okay, I've got this business idea, I've got a series of business ideas, what do I do? Well, you pick one. You pick one and you launch an experiment. You find an audience, you stick it in front of them and ask them for cash. If it works and you liked it and they liked it, then you go to part two, repeat. If any of those is a no, then you've got to go, okay, so what do I need to change to make this work for me and for my customers and to make money? So let's go through the process together, Jack. So, question number one, evaluation of a mini experiment, lock and load. Did we like it? Yes or no?
Yeah, I think it was so much fun. Especially once we got going. Did we know what we were going to talk about most of the time? No,
Jack, I made a career out of that, as you know.
but we hit record. We went live, and they were very fun, chaotic 90 minutes.
Yeah, and I think I love the fact that we've got over 1,000 unique viewers, and one of our objectives was to add value to the support group, knowing that like it could be busier given the number of people in there. We've got to find new and interesting ways to engage and support our audience to get that cooking. So from that perspective, I think it worked. Yes, I liked it. It achieved some of those objectives. It was great fun, and I've got a nice new light that makes me look like I'm on the telly. So I like it for that. Um, how much did we spend on our mini experiment, Jack? That's worth checking in on because, as you know, we like to bootstrap things.
How much was your light, Simon?
30 quid. I got two of them. It was a £30 roughly for a pair.
Outside of our time, I think in that case we spent about £30 on this mini experiment.
Oh, wait, I didn't include 17 packets of Strepsils and a box of
Ooh.
cleaner.
Would you have had them anyway?
Yes. So I can't expense that. Damn it. Nice try though. Wait a minute. Don't tell our accountant. Yes, I think we already had the equipment. I think one of the things that I wanted to experiment with and have for some time, knowing that we spend quite a lot of time delivering on camera, it's not like it's our first radio in front of a Zoom audience, but I've been wanting to continue to upgrade the quality of what it looks like in the rectangle. He says in his kitchen with a dying plant behind him, but like for the actual show, you know, Jack, I like that. Are they there all week, by the way, or do you move them in for the show?
This one's not even real.
Oh, Jack,
I
I'm really
I would say,
disappointed.
do I move them for the show? What the real answer is yes. This one lives behind the camera. What actually happens is I move it here for the show, and then it stays there until the next show.
So it's been there for 4 months.
Ta-da!
I love it. So the consensus here is like we enjoyed the experience. We want to do something again, whatever format it takes. But okay, so we've answered question one. So that means that it looks like we've got partial green light for going forwards. The second question is, and this is why we've asked you guys for feedback, and thank you for those that have given us feedback already on the previous shows and over the support group. But did you guys like it? Did our audience like it? Part of the evidence of that is that we got 1,000 people watching. So there is some evidence that says there's something in this for the audience. And also the questions that people asked. I think it was great to get that engagement. I really enjoyed reviewing people's websites and stuff like that. So I think we'll do a little bit more of that going forward. What's your sense of audience feedback, Jack?
Yeah, I think it's been good. I think what I've loved about having the show in the support group is that it continues to live and grow outside of the live stream itself before Facebook deletes it. We had a lot of people who might not be able to have made the Friday mornings when we did it, but the comments continued to come in over the weekend and over the following weeks where people caught up. I think that's very powerful. And also, like, not only on the videos themselves, but we had people in the group who were engaging in the lead up to the events and the live streams themselves. So we had kind of pre-prepared content and questions that we could pull in rather than rely
Yeah.
entirely on the live experience.
Love that. Love the questions that people submitted. It really gave us some color and some substance to some juicy stuff to talk about.
Mm.
And occasionally, you might have noticed I went off on one and lost control of my face and started talking and was probably breathing through my neck. I was talking so long without taking a breath, Jack. So
Like
you
now.
start working with me. Okay, so we've got some feedback, we've got some evidence that our audience kind of likes it. Question number three. Did we make money, Jack?
No.
What? What on earth were we thinking?
Oh.
So we got two objectives here, folks, and it depends on what your experiment is all about. And some of you will know this already. If you're creating content, then it's more likely to be a medium to long-term play. You're not going to make money out of sponsorship and advertising or donations when you first launched the thing. But actually, we were quite clear this wasn't a money making exercise. This was about using our resources in order to experiment with a thing to see if we can enhance the product and the services that we've already got. So making money in the short term was not our thing. But if you take the experience of the Donegans, my business partner, co-founder of Rebel, Alan Donegan, and his fabulous wife, Katie, the Rebel Finance School experience, they've been running this thing for years for free and have created an audience. Now, that audience, the number of views and subscribers that they're getting on the finance school is we're in monetizing territory now in terms of
Mm.
YouTube revenue. So that's kind of cool. That's interesting. But that wasn't their objective, and it still isn't. Their objective is to help as many people on planet Earth as possible take control of their finances. Please go to the Donegans website, rebeldonegans.com, or just Google Rebel Finance School. Sign up for the finance school if you haven't done it already. It's free and it is freaking life changing. The case studies they've got are insane about people getting out of debt, getting their pensions sorted, some people retiring early. I mean, it's just wild. Brilliant what they're doing there. So recap, making money, not our initial objective. Maybe over time, if we find a direction of travel that we really get behind for the next part of the experiment number two. So the alternative is if we didn't make money, did we achieve our objective? I've forgotten what our objective was, other than it was a cool conversation to have over pierogi that made it in the calendar. What the objective, I guess, was about, adding as much value as we can to support people on their business journey. Do you think we achieved that, Jack, through the show? I hope so.
Yeah, I think so. I think my to build on that, I would split it into two sections. I think one of the objectives, especially from that initial pierogi conversation, was simply around output into the world. So like making content that engages and actively kind of supports people.
Love that. It made
Yes,
us do something, didn't
yeah.
it? It made us do a thing that we've been talking about for so long. So
And I think kind of objective number two and was around the Facebook support group itself. To your point, I think we had conversations about breathing some new life into it, getting a bit more re-energized and engaged. It's very much kind of not been at the tip of our arrow for a long time. And I think in terms of that objective, semi-success. I think like we have continued to put it and prioritize these are live streams in the group, and you've got to join the group to join. And we did have, in terms of people joining the group because of that, we've seen growth. We've seen people that have joined over through the courses. We had a big spike when we first started it, getting people to join it in there. I think why it's a semi achievement is the group is always continuing to grow, and we want to continue to make sure we want it to be even more active, and we want really to kind of build that community in there. From our output, my learning there is what, in terms of the mini experiment show, what we did was little and not little and often, like little and kind of sporadic.
yeah,
The live streams themselves, obviously once a month. The lead up to it was very sporadic. We would promote it and shout about it when we remembered, but there could be gaps, big gaps between that, which meant that we probably there's learnings there and how we can better do the promotion behind that. Um, so I think in terms of output, like nailed it, and I really want to continue a version of this. But there's a lot of exciting and intriguing learnings around how to continue to build that online community at the same time. Just simply putting something out into the world occasionally is not often enough.
Yeah, I love that. So there's something about consistency. There's something about planning it a little bit tighter in terms of the lead up to it and what happens between shows. Um, and there's something about uh, continuing to engage in a way that is exciting, fun, and meets the needs of the audience that we're
Yeah,
trying to serve
yeah.
here, right? So I love that, Jack. So, okay, so I've got some closing thoughts which I'd like to share. But before we do that, question. It's the $6 million question, or as we've learned on this show, the 29.99 pound question. What should we do next? What does experiment number two of the mini experiment show, if indeed that name sticks, give us a sense of direction? Because we have had, so folks, if if you're watching this now, this is going to sound like, oh, they've already known what they're doing. They kind of did about 4 weeks ago because Jack and Simon had a fantastic conversation walking along the canal in Birmingham. We created something which was the conversation started on the canal in Maida Hill and then continued on the canal in Birmingham, pointing out it wasn't a continuous conversation. We did have a break in between.
That's a long walk.
And we came up with something, and both of us were crackling with energy. It was so exciting. It was brilliant. I think we stumbled across a format that was the almost like the result of 9 years of creative conversations and sharing ideas and film and comedy and podcast and so on. In fact, I'm so excited about it that I can't remember a single thing of what we said. Jack, I don't even know. I
You're
don't even
saying we
know
didn't
what
learn
happened
from this at all?
yesterday. Never mind what happened 4 weeks ago. Because we were on the canal, nothing got put in the calendar and nothing got written down. So, like, Jack, help me out as the person with the memory of our comedy duo, person that more likely to remember things than Grandad here. What's your recollection of our conversation? What are we going to do next? And where do we go? What
I
should we do?
think there is so much of it is still unwritten, and I know that we there's a lot of that we want to
This
do.
is true.
Yeah, very true. There's a lot of finding that nice ground between the stuff that we want to do and also the stuff that people are asking for. Making sure that you've got to make that for the audience. If you're not making it for the audience, who are you making it for? I think my immediate thoughts are like like what's next? Something like
Something.
there will be, write that down, like something, there will be a next version of this. I think it's been such an enjoyable and creative itching experiment that we'd be fools not to. um so like there will be something that we put out. It's not like, no, we didn't enjoy that and we're not doing anything else. I think there's a lot of learnings around, like you said earlier, how long the videos are, when the videos go out, where the videos are posted. At the same time as this, we've done an experiment alongside our YouTube channel where a lot of the episodes and clips from the episodes have been going up there. So it's been an interesting content funnel experiment at the same time. Um, so yeah, I think there's a lot of kind of like information just before the videos themselves on how and where they live, whether the support group is the right place, whether Friday mornings, whether an hour and a half, all of that stuff is right. What I would love to explore is getting in external voices, um, not only from our team, but also bringing in fantastic guests to share their experiences, their stories, their mini experiments, being able to work with their, not only being able to kind of expand the reach that this is able to bring in, but also expand the perspectives. Because even if this show carried on in its own way, there's only so many questions you and I could answer before we just start repeating ourselves. That excites me, and actually, which is very rare for me, I think the unknown of where it could go also excites me quite a lot.
Ooh. I love that. That's brilliant. Okay, so now I remember our conversation with a little more clearly. Uh, I can see the first guest. He doesn't know it yet, but he has an amazing story, both in terms of his life journey as well as his business. And he's such an interesting person. And I think like, actually the business side of what it is that they do and how they run their lives is probably something most people don't really know about because they're famous for a thing, not for their business. So let's get into it with them. And I'm being a little bit cryptic because I think it's only polite that I make sure that they want to join us first. And also join us for what? Like, I don't know. I don't really know what the pitch is yet. So I think that feels like the next step is to sort of regroup, have some creative conversations around what the format is and where and how we can do it in the same room potentially. Because whilst Zoom is expedient, it helps us to create content when we're down the line. You just can't beat the crackle of energy when you're in the same room with someone. So I think there's something about that as part of this for me too. So okay, Jack, I've got it. I mean, I've got some closing thoughts. Anything else from you before I give you my final thought?
Over to you, play yourself.
Okay, so what I want to say to everybody is if you've got a business idea or a bunch of business ideas, it's probably the place you're at in the process is you're not still not yet quite ready to fully commit to one. Or maybe you have committed to one and it's working for you fine, but you're excited to do the next thing and try something else. The methodology, which is a game changer, is mini experiment methodology. You might remember that from the course. If you've done our course, the next step for you is to decide what you're selling, focus, decide what you're selling, who you're selling it to, and take a bunch of action to do it. How do you decide? Follow your heart. With your heart as your compass, what excites you the most out of all of your ideas, figure out how to bootstrap a mini experiment so you don't have to spend much money, if any at all. Stick it in front of an audience and ask them for money and see what happens. And I guess, like, to me, the learning that this has reminded me of is action beats down fear with a big stick. If you're scared of doing something, taking the action helps to reduce the fear because the fear is in your head, it's intangible. So get out there, make many experiments, and we'll be in touch.